Well, guess what? She was the one who initiated all of that and wrote a negative story on us, rallied 170 people to sign a petition. They were calling us big bad developers from China. I can tell you a story. So this is October 13th, 2023. I remember it's my sister's birthday. That's her plug. We checked out three homes in Barrie. We started in Toronto, but we ended up in Barrie because of what Kartik mentioned earlier. The acquisition costs are much better in Barrie for the land size that you would get. We were with our agent. We saw three homes. Every home we saw, first one was good, second one was better, third one was great. We walked to the backyard and said, wow, for 725K, we can get one third of an acre. Fantastic. So that was about 2 p.m. on a Friday. And we looked at our agent and we said, hey, wow, what can we build here? We had no idea. So we decided, why don't we just walk into City Hall? So we walked in there and there was a planning wicket in the planning department. And basically, we met the planner of the day, the most friendliest and jolliest gentleman ever, and one of the smartest guys in that office. All of them are smart. And he said, how can I help you? So this is planning department, right? How can I help you? And we say, hey, we're thinking about buying a property. How many units can we put on there? He said, how many units do you want? Kartik and I looked at each other and we're like, is this really happening? This is like Christmas. And we said, six, eight, I don't know. He said, you could do more. So we said 10 because anything 10 and under, you avoid site plan approval, right? So you save almost a year and a half right off the bat. So we left. We were excited. We called our agent back. We put in an offer and we got it the next day. So that one property is the beginning of our Clapperton Village Project right now because we have nine on a couple of streets, all in the same area, walking distance upon one another. And how one turned into three was very quickly. A few months later, our next door neighbors invited us out for lunch and we wanted to give them an update, but we knew we wanted their properties, but we did it indirectly. Very, very nice to them, explained what was going on because they were curious. Hey, there's going to be a bunch of construction now. What are you putting? You're putting rentals. What kind of bad tenants are moving in? You're going to devalue my neighborhood. Everything NIMBYs would say, right? But they were good because by the end of the 1 hour meeting, they said, how would it look if we sold you our property? Next thing you know, one turned into three a few months later. And we were able to negotiate favorable terms. And for us, favorable terms means longer closing, the right amount of deposits, right? And they were living there while we were getting our permits. So they were carrying the mortgage, right? So that is one nugget that I can share with the listeners right now. So having that one out of our many nuggets allowed us to scale very quickly because next thing you know, we saw other projects 2 blocks away, did the same thing. And the neighbors wanted to sell, met other fellow developers that wanted to unload properties. And we built those right relationships. And then eventually on the first street, neighbors that were a year ago at that time fighting us and saying, hey, you know what? You're going to put a huge apartment there. You're going to block my son. Neighbors are going to throw beer bottles off the balcony and hit my car, and you're going to bring crime and you're going to devalue my property. Well, guess what? She was the one who initiated all of that and wrote a negative story on us. So she was the one, a negative story on us, rallied 170 people to sign a petition, and 70 people showed up on our Committee of Adjustments meeting, which we still won right after, by the way. So she was the one who didn't like it at all. They were calling us big bad developers from China. And right, it's we were just big bad developers in her eyes. But guess what? She sold us our house a year later. Across the street, she sold us our house a year later. We paid more than market price, and she was happy. And then at the end of the day, she shook our hands and said, hey, good luck. And that's how one turned into nine within a year and a half.